Hey guys, Josh Hatcher from Manlihood.com and
Lou Costa from Ironmill.
And we are here because we are encouraging you guys to rise up. We've been working on this for several weeks. Years, really, on our own. We started, we had a couple mutual friends that were like, you've got to talk to Lou because he's doing some things like what you're doing. And then they were saying the same thing to him. So we said, let's work together on this. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to say Lou is the one who definitely was like, we need to combine some forces here. So,
well, when our group of people were sprinting outside of your work, and I kept catching you coming out of your lunch breaks, it had to happen. It was an easy conversation.
Yeah. Our lives just kind of meshed for us together, and it's funny because there's a lot of things about Lou and I that are probably very different. A lot of mindsets, a lot of attitudes, a lot of ideas, but at the same time, there's like so much like synergy of things that we have in common. We both got some radio background. We both he played saxophone. I played saxophone. It's pretty cool. He's the same age as my little brother, so yeah. So my little brother's a little better looking, but that's okay.
I was about to say we're both handsome, but that's gone now. You ruined that.
We want to talk to you about what Rise Up is. We want to take 12 weeks together and explore a couple of themes, a couple of ideas. And when I say that, I don't mean just we're going to write blog posts and you guys read them. There's a lot more to it than that.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
It's old news, you know?
Yeah, we've read, there are blogs to read, so if you like to read, it'll be there, but we're hoping to give you some of that content in audio so you can listen to it while you're driving down the road. It'll be on our podcast. We're going to be doing some video stuff and some in-person stuff, which I think is kind of exciting too.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool bag of things we have going here. With Manlihood, first of all, thank you for having me. For combining everything together.
Thank you for being a part of this too. It's amazing.
Because what we're doing is pretty important, and it's important for manhood. This is kind of a no girls, men only. Girls can read and follow along, but there's some themes here that we're getting together that mean something to both of us, which is, I think, when you were saying what our combined is we have some really, I don't want to say just dark, but some really serious themes that are going on with men now that in both of our lives and friends of our lives that we thought need to be touched on specifically in a 12-week period. And that was the big thing with us for Rise Up, was to make sure that we hit the notes that people don't usually talk about, and to just maybe give some content and some feedback that's not necessarily mainstream, which is important to us. Some realness in the whole thing.
And I think that's the thing, because it's almost like there's two voices right now out there in the world. There's this voice that says men are worthless, they're rapists, they're violent, and we don't need them anymore. That's one voice. Now, they might soften it a little bit, but you hear that voice a lot. And then the other voice is like almost reactionary to that. It's well, fine, then women are, or you know what I mean? Like,
angry.
They're angry. And don't get me wrong, I'm a little angry at it myself, but we're not going to win that war by saying, throwing stones back and forth. As men, what we need to do is rise up. Like we've been slapped down, and we need to rise up.
It's about almost the loneliness, depression, addiction, the things in our society right now that men are suffering with. I have conversations, and all my friends that I talk to on the phone, on Messenger, all day, every day, I feel like I'm constantly in this, as I say, zeitgeist of people that are just unhappy, men that are unhappy. The mainstream media puts out there that there definitely is a pushback against toxic masculinity, and that's
right.
And what we're trying to get to, there's not toxic masculinity. We're talking to the brotherhood.
Right. There's
a brotherhood of men that exists underneath of that. That's important to get through, I think.
Being a man involves having virtue, and that virtue is going to look different from person to person. And some, Lou really values strength. I value strength too, but physical strength is something that Lou really values. It's something I need to value more. So just as an example of a virtue, but we've got men who want virtue.
I value love too.
Yeah. We've been
tattooed on my arm.
Yeah, we love each other because we're brothers, right?
Yeah, you're right.
No, but we value these things, and we have virtues that we need to uphold, and to be a good man means to have these things. What's happened, though, is we get these things, we're supposed to learn these things from our fathers and from our friends' fathers, and that brotherhood that should have been there 1 generation ago, 2 generations ago. Somewhere over the line, it's broken down, and we've got generations of men.
And that's my big thing, is how did that happen? But I see it happening. I see the effect of that happening, and it's kind of hurt me. It's hurt me, it's hurt a lot of people around me, and I think that's a lot of what, a lot of what this is giving almost, not advice, because this is not advice given by me at all. Yeah. I don't even qualify myself to give advice, but it's more of a sharing. It's more of a sharing and
here's where I'm at.
Yeah, right. And here's my story. Here's Josh's story.
Yeah. Here's what I'm struggling with and what I'm working on. I don't now. one of the words that we hear a lot is if we go back to that cultural picture, they say, well, men need to be more vulnerable, right? And yes, I don't like the word because
it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. I mean, like vulnerable is laying on the ground like my dog saying, pet my belly, and while you're at it, you could just slit my throat. Like, I'm not going to do that, you know? And there are very few people in the world that I would be that vulnerable with, where I'm like, this is my deepest, darkest secret. This is my deepest, darkest struggle. At the same time, if even in my deepest, darkest secret and my deepest, darkest struggle, if I can help pull somebody out of the pit with me, because I don't want to stay there in that. I don't want to stay depressed and lonely and broken and fat and everything else that's fallen apart and poor. I don't want to stay that. I want to rise above it. I want to rise up.
Right. Yeah.
And if I'm coming out of the pit, you're coming with me.
And that's why Rise Up, the simplicity of it is what we both kind of were drawn to. I kind of worked on it. You kind of worked on it. I mean, it's nothing new. You know, we're both marketers.
Oh yeah, sure.
But so Rise Up to me it's not just a catchphrase. It's literally like just do it. You know, like Nike.
Yeah, exactly.
And the simplicity. It's just something that all men can attach to through. You know, like you mentioned some of them. We're talking about suicide here. We're talking about depression. We're talking about alcoholism. We're talking about substance abuse. We're talking about relationships. The things that you're not going to hear on basic everyday cable, or maybe on certain podcasts and things like that on YouTube. I mean, those things, those are great. But this is local, real, and something that I feel very passionate about, and I know you do too.
Definitely. And I know that we've got all kinds of men that have been starting to have these conversations in the Manlihood Man Cave, and you can, if you go on Facebook, type in Manlihood Man Cave, we've got a Facebook group there, you can join it. Weigh in on this stuff. We're going to have some great discussions over this 12 weeks. I think Lou
the whole point is to have interaction, you know?
Yeah, and leave comments on the videos when you see them, send, if maybe you don't even like social media, but you're watching this because you're getting it via your email.
I hate social media.
He does. He hates social media.
I hate it.
He uses it sometimes, and then he'll be like, "Nope, forget it. I'm done." I get it.
Because doesn't it make you feel depressed? It makes me feel sad half the time. It really does.
I see.
It affects my own.
I can totally see that, and I have so many friends who feel that way. For me, there's a mindset change that's happened where I'm like, I am getting out of the pit, and I'm taking you all with me. But if I shut you out, or the opportunity to speak into your life, I can't bring you with me because you're not there. And so for me, I have used social media to build some connections, and I don't want to lose those connections to take people with me. If we were to go to the gym right now and go and try to arm wrestle, you're going to smoke me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Never know.
Because you've been working on this for years, dude. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, he's been working on this for years, so he's got this built up. I've been working on this for years, and this for years, and so now he's been working. I'm not saying he's dumb or he's like emotionally retarded. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that.
Where's the conversation going exactly?
No, I'm saying that we're coming at this from different perspectives, and we've worked on different things, and we're strong in different areas, and so we work on it together. So for me, for social media, like, it doesn't have that same drag down for me until election season, which is coming up. So I might be under the radar once that really gets rolling. That gets me fired up. So I'm going to try to stay out of that.
I'll stay away from politics.
But I do know what you mean, man. I see so many people that get just dragged under, and social media becomes like a millstone around their neck.
Well, right, and that's not. I'm not trying to demonize social media or say I've never used it, because I made a whole business off of it. It was something that was important to me a long time ago, and still has the ability to be a soundboard for something very positive. So I think that's important to do that, and of course we'll get into those issues later on how to make social media work for you, because I feel like a lot of people use it wrong. I mean, I feel like a lot of people use it wrong. I feel like a lot of people use food wrong. I feel like a lot of people use lifting wrong. Well, maybe, like you said, maybe I did lift too much. Maybe I haven't been. We did theater together. Yeah. Who would have thought we would be in theater together? I know. That's one of our themes. Getting out, being creative. Being creative with somebody. Men sharing that with somebody else.
And creativity is something that, like, maybe it's working with wood or working. My dad used to love to leather carve, and or singing or playing guitar or gardening. Gardening is an art form, but there's something in you that's creative. And we're going to talk some about that over these 12 weeks a little bit, but we're going to talk about strength, about, and actually not just talk about, like, I think we want to try to do what you call them pain camps, right? What's a pain camp?
Well, pain. Anybody that's been involved in my pain camps or we call it, it's a catch term phrase of pain camp. Persevere, adapt, do it with intensity, never give in, never say die. It's basically just putting yourself out there at the whim of whatever I have you do. Trusting me to get through, to help you get through the pain, the acronym of pain, persevere, adapt, intensity, never give in, never say die, to whatever obstacle we put at you. So those pain camps are something we're trying to incorporate into this for not just physicality, but some other things too. Something that's, like maybe standing on stage. I was scared to death to stand on stage as a young man. I actually would skip my speech classes in high school and show up not to be in school that day because I was so afraid and terrified of being in front of people. Now it's something that comes naturally after years of inducing myself in that pain.
Yeah, sometimes
it's like living it.
You've got to, no matter what it is or where you're at, you've got to take where you're at and you've got to say, I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone. I'm going to push harder. I'm going to push farther. And now there might be people here who don't know me and they don't know any of my story, for example. And they might say, "Oh, that's just a fat guy telling me I need to get healthy."
100 pounds less fat guy.
Almost.
Lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, almost. I'm almost at 100 pounds.
How many of you have lost 100 pounds?
Yeah, and you know what? What's really cool is losing it. I'm like, holy cow! I've been like weight training for a long time. I'm like getting muscle underneath this stuff already because I've been carrying it around. But the point is, though, like I said, I'm in a pit. I'm going to pull you out with me. We're not going to stay here. We're going to keep going. We're going to push ahead.
I put him through a workout. You're starting the 12 weeks. Can you agree right now on camera that you're going to start the strength training?
I've
I have to hold you to it.
I have. Well, one of the things that's going to happen is you guys are going to be getting emails from us that are going to give you every week. There's going to be a challenge. So if you have not signed up for it, you need to go to manlihood.com/risexup. And you give us your email address because that's where we're going to send you your challenges. The only place you can get it is if you fill that out. And the challenges are going to be things like, I'm not even going to tell you. But I will say that one of the challenges, I'll tell you one, is a benchmark. We're going to look at what can you do? Like some things that you can do to test yourself to figure out this is what my limit is. I can only do X number of X.
And then bust you past it.
Yes! Because when we're done, you need to be doing more. And we're going to do that. I'm going to do that.
Only because I have been a motivational coach for lifestyle and strength and adventure and all the things that I put myself for a while. And the limitations you put on yourself are what's holding you back. I think when I was asked, what is the importance of this goal, it is to find your boundary and then push past it. And yell Valhalla. Exactly. Like we're going through it because that's what the restrictor plate that most people put on themselves. Maybe not physically, maybe emotionally.
Yeah.
With maybe it's through your family or through your relationships or through your coworkers or through there's a lot of lazy, unmotivated people out there.
Yeah,
and by lazy I mean lazy. It's in your mind to get better, and that's what we're here to do too. It's not just fluffy. Hey, let's do a coloring workshop and stay inside the lines. No, I want to push you to something that you're not used to doing, and that's important in this kind of rise up challenges that we're building here.
Make sure that you go to manlihood.com/risexup and put your email address in there so that you can get the notifications from us. Okay, this is a question I've gotten, and I'm going to ask you because I don't know the answer. I think I know the answer. What is the X?
The X?
Yeah.
The X is a skull.
It's
a nice marketing flourish, if you will. Because there were so many Rise Up when I Googled, when I started to do that.
Everybody does Rise Up, so now we've got something on its own.
And there's a dark theme to this whole thing because the skull, I've held it on Ironmill because there's just always something to be reminded that it's just kind of hanging there. That there's a dark side to all of our personalities. There's a dark side. When you strength train to pull out the best of you, you have to dig into something. There's a motivation you have to, and I'm not trying to go on a limb here and say a lot of people are living with it. I'm not saying anybody that thinks the world is fluffy and kind and wonderful is they're mistaken a little bit. And there's things that I've gone through and everybody else has gone through. It's just there's in the specific there's universal. In my specific, you guys have been through it, and I think with us sharing that, there is a dark side to this. And I don't mean what we're doing is dark. I'm saying the motivation to it. And so that's where the X came from.
Here's the things I add into it when I see it. I see the X could also mean everybody that is watching this, everybody that's going through this is in a different place. They're struggling with a different thing, and they can put that in there. So whatever it is that you need to rise up, that's for you. It's an X, there's a blank. We know that we're all different, and we're all coming from different perspectives. So, maybe the thing that we want you to try all the challenges, but maybe the thing you're going to get the most out of is not the same thing that Lou's going to get the most out of, or the same thing I'm going to get the most out of.
Because I want y'all to write. I'd rather have you, instead of doing the push-ups I would rather people to start writing. Writing is a therapy to me, and that's one thing we want to invoke in a lot of people is it's not just about alcoholism and things like that, or breaking down barriers. It's about understanding yourself.
Yeah. Because you're not going to grow if you don't. The other part of the X, are you ready? There's a Bible verse that says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens the face of his brother. Mm. And so I can picture like crossed swords, like, well, they're in our Manlihood logo. We should cut crossed swords.
That's better. I should stop running. Bah! Cut it. So I ask you a question, Lou. What is the X? Because there's a Bible verse that says, iron sharpens iron.
That's what we want to see you guys do. We want to draw together at whatever place we're at, and we want to say, let's move on. Let's rise up. Let's pull ourselves up out of the grave and resurrect. And I think
iron sharpens iron,
and we're gonna do it together.
So, we did it together! Ah! We didn't even plan that.
We didn't. To Valhalla!
Valhalla!
All right, guys. So go to manlihood.com/risexup. Give us your email address. Do the challenges. Tell us about it.
Get off the couch and participate. Do something about it. You'll feel better.
You will. All right. Thank you, guys.